Since the turn of the century, the Minnesota Twins are up there as one of the most difficult franchises to root for. For starters, they have made the playoffs 9 times between 2002 to 2020, managed to win just one series over 2 decades ago against the Oakland Athletics, and went on an 18-game playoff losing streak, the longest in MLB history by 5 games. During this time, the club has also seen their stadium become more and more empty, going from a peak of over 3 million in attendance during 2010 and 2011 to just 1.9 million in 2023. The fans are not at fault for this, rather the front office for continuing to build an underperforming team that falls apart come October. But 2023 was different. This is the story of how the Minnesota Twins finally broke their 20-year playoff curse. At the start of the 2023 season, there was much promise to Twins fans as the team set their sights on winning the American League Central that poised to be weaker than the previous few seasons, and they set out to accomplish this by making some big shakeups in the offseason, one in particular being the acquisition of starter Pablo Lopez for fan favorite and reigning batting title champion Luis Arraez. At the time of this deal, it was interesting to digest, because on one hand the club brought in another front of the rotation starter, an area in which they desperately needed help in 2022, but on the other they parted ways with a bright young star whose incredible knack for hitting has yielded many comparisons to MLB great Tony Gwynn. It also didn't help that Arraez flirted with batting 400 up until late June while the Twins struggled. After starting the season off well with a 17-12 record, good for a 3.5 game cushion atop the division, they went an underwhelming 12-15 in May, dwindling their lead to just 2 games. And then in June, after another 12-15 month, they fell below 500, still leading the division by 1 game over Cleveland, but it felt at the time whoever made the playoffs from this group would be hammered. After all, the last place Boston Red Sox had the same record as the Twins at the end of June, and they had a far more difficult schedule playing in the always competitive American League East. But this is when we started to see a turning point in the Twins season. Pablo Lopez, who had gotten off to a rocky start in his new Threads, managed to bring his ERA down from 4.24 during the first 3 months of the season to 3.03 during the last 3. It was also at this time where the Twins' bats finally started to take off. For instance, Eddie Julien, an unranked prospect in the club's farm, exploded during July with 6 home runs, 9 RBIs, and an OPS almost reaching 1,200 after posting 3 straight months in the mid to high 700s. And the other guys in the lineup, Ryan Jeffers, Kyle Farmer, Alex Kirilloff, Max Kepler, and Matt Wallner, all put up significantly higher OPS figures. In total, the Twins put up a combined OPS of 789 during July, after posting a cumulative 710 OPS during the first 3 months of the season, including just a 688 in June. That's a huge difference. These bats helped fuel a 13-11 record in July for the club's first winning month since April, helping them maintain a 1-game lead over Cleveland, which steadily increased to 5 games after going an impressive 15-12 in August. And then, after a 17-10 record to finish off the season, the Twins found themselves squarely as the winners of the division, and after getting hot at the right time, they looked to take down the Toronto Blue Jays, who seemed to stumble their way into the playoffs after disappointing seasons from the majority of their lineup. For Game 1, the Twins sound out a lineup that consisted of many players who exceeded expectations in Eddie Julien, Max Kepler, Alex Kirilloff, Ryan Jeffers, Matt Wallner, and Michael A. Taylor, the number 9 hitter that had 21 home runs on the season. But wait, there is one man we are forgetting here, and that is Royce Lewis. Lewis was the prized possession of the Twins farm system for the past few years and ranked as the best from 2018 to 2022. Now, you may be thinking, how does the number 1 ranked prospect in the farm not make the majors after that long? Well, it's simple: injuries. They completely derailed his initial ETA of the majors, and instead he only made a brief cameo during the 2022 season where he performed well over 12 games before once again going on the injured list with an ACL tear. It was starting to seem like he would never amount to anything in the bigs with his lengthy injury history, and despite having more problems in 2023 with a knee that kept him out till late May, an oblique injury in September, and a hamstring issue right before the playoffs started, he was able to feature in 58 games for the club, his most in a single season across any division since 2019. And during this time he raked, scoring 36 runs, hit 12 homers, knocked in 52 RBIs, and had a slash line which included an over 900 OPS. For reference, if we average these stats over 650 plate appearances, which is the average amount for a player during a single season, then we get 98 runs, 41 home runs, 141 RBIs, and a WAR of 6.5. That's the type of production he gave the Twins when available, and he was right there in the lineup healthy and batting third in Game 1. But I say that loosely because it didn't seem like he was all really that healthy, because his hamstring injury was still fresh and limited his availability in the field, causing him to DH. And on the base pass, he was slow and had the risk of re-aggravating the muscle. But thankfully for him, the coaching staff, and the Twins faithful, he was able to suit up and did this in his first 2 at-bats of the game.
Does not go, and that one is drilled deep to left field. Going back Varsho, turning, looking, see ya! A 2-run home run.
Left in the opening inning, a swing and a fly ball, right center field deep, Springer back, he will turn, back it goes, gone!
The crowd just shy of 40,000 on that cold Tuesday afternoon erupted and gave the Twins hope that this year could finally be the end of the playoff curse. And following a big misplay by the Toronto Blue Jays when Bo Bichette ran through the stop sign at their base and was gunned out at home by Platinum Glover Carlos Correa, Pablo Lopez was able to exit the game rather unscathed after 5 2/3 innings pitched with 7 base runners but just 1 earned run. And following dominant relief performances from Louis Varland, Caleb Thielbar, and Griffin Jax, the Twins were set up perfectly in the 9th inning with one of the best closers, Joan Duran, entering the game.
Fastballs. And the pitch, ground ball right side, diving stop Solano, to his feet, feeds Duran, slips on the bag!
The Twins had done it. They won their first playoff game since 2004, 18 whole games in the process, the longest such streak by 5 over the Boston Red Sox. But let's get back to their celebrations, because this was an incredible moment for a franchise that had experienced nothing but agonizing defeats throughout the last couple of decades. And while this sweet taste of victory was in their mouths, they still wanted more, because they understood they snapped the 18-game losing streak. Now it was a matter of breaking the 20-year span of series losses, because after all, who cares if you win 1 game in a series but lose the next few? In Game 2, Sonny Gray took the mound for the Twins and ran into trouble in a few innings, but managed to narrowly escape thanks in part to him executing his pitches, but also the inefficiencies that hindered the Blue Jays' ability to hit with runners on. In fact, it was a problem for them all season, where they managed to place just 20th in the league in OPS with runners in scoring position. Now moving over to the Jays starter, this is what I'm sure you were anticipating. Jose Barrios took the mound against his former club and was electric. Through the first 3 innings of the game, he was the best I had ever seen him before. Each pitch was up a tick in speed, and he seemed to be placing his pitches perfectly. But after a leadoff walk to Royce Lewis, he was pulled from the game. The thought process behind it being the Jays would bring in a lefty to force the Twins to take their lefties in the front of the lineup out of the game to help the Blue Jays bullpen in the later innings. This unfortunately came to bite them right in the
like this, hit sharply up the middle, it's a base hit. Lewis scores, is loaded. There's a ground ball to short. There's 1, and there's 2, but another run scores.
This decision was heavily criticized by the media, and rightly so. It was terrible. I couldn't believe my eyes watching the screen as John Schneider came to the mound and Yusei Kikuchi ran in from left field. Now, I have nothing against Yusei Kikuchi, he had a great season. But come on, your starter looked the best he had all season, you have to let him continue. Because the Twins, as we saw, went on to score 2 during this inning thanks to a Carlos Correa single and Willie Castro run-scoring double play. Then, a couple innings later, the Jays were threatening themselves with runners on 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs and their best hitter on the team up at the plate. In fact, nobody in the American League has more hits than Bo Bichette since 2021, and he would have led the league for 3 straight seasons if not for his knee injury that occurred during the summer. And in his at-bat with a full count, this happened.
Again. Oh, do they pick off? Oh, they got him!
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was one of the worst base runners in baseball last season and was expertly picked off by Sonny Gray and Carlos Correa. And as mentioned, this was the end of the night for Sonny Gray, but that's all they needed from their starter. Because once again, with dominating relief performances from the same trio in Game 1, as well as Brock Stewart, the Twins gave Joan Duran the ball, and with the tying run up to bat, all eyes were on him.
And the Twins are an out away. Swing and a miss. Finally!
The Twins had done it. This win marked their first series win since all the way back to 2002 when they beat the Oakland Athletics 3-2 to advance to the championship series. And as the Twins celebrated on the field, you could see exactly how much it meant to not only them, but to the fans too. Because I don't think many people realize how great of a fan base there is in Minnesota. Like I mentioned, they had over 3.1 million fans in back-to-back seasons in 2010 and 2011, but as the playoff losses continued to rack up, the stadium began to have more empty seats. seats. This win over the favored Toronto Blue Jays brought life back into Target Field, and despite the team's troubles facing the mighty Houston Astros in the championship series, the club was able to rekindle many fans' joy for their beloved Minnesota Twins, and hopefully they will not have to wait another 20 years for an experience like this once again. That wraps it up for this video. Let me know your thoughts of the Twins breaking their playoff curse in the comments, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like to help the channel reach more like-minded people, as well as subscribe and to stay up to date with multiple videos every single week and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Alright, thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next one.